You asked, are electric vehicles cheaper to run than petrol cars?
In general, as a very general statement, you could possibly argue at the moment that electric cars are cheaper to run than petrol cars. And that's simply the cost of the fuel. By the way, we actually on the All Energy Answers website actually have a calculator where you can check the running cost of a petrol car versus an electric vehicle. And I recommend you guys play with that calculator as well. But let's say the average kilowatt hours that you need to have an electric car drive 100 kilometers is between, let's say, 10 and 16 kilowatt hours, which means if I charge 30 cents per kilowatt hour of electricity, maybe the average price, let's go with $4.50. That's the cost that it'll cost me to have the fuel to drive that car 100 kilometers. Now, obviously, on current petrol prices of around $1.80, I'm looking at $20 with petrol to fuel my car to drive 100k. So that we got $4.50 to $5 versus $20. So there's a $15 saving every 100k. Now, let's say I go 15,000 kilometers a year, which means it's 150 times that saving. So that's about $2,225. I will have less as costs in fuel every year. And the more I drive, the more the difference between the electric vehicle and the petrol car. Now, it's actually not really a fair race because in my petrol price, normally there's around the 40 to 45 cent that the government charges in a road user tax, and theoretically that money should be used to kind of fix the roads. Usually goes in the government's coffer for other things, but theoretically we all should be contributing through our petrol tax towards the upkeep of the road. Now, naturally, if you just pull out electricity out of the grid, you don't actually have to pay that consumption tax. So Victoria recently tried now to introduce some kind of responsibility for the EV vehicle driver to also contribute towards road upkeep. So I think you have to fill out like a logbook at the end of the year to declare how many kilometers you've driven in your electric vehicle, and then you'll be charged a distance tax to kind of contribute towards the road maintenance. Now, that's only been tried at the moment in Victoria.
Are you for real?
What I see going forward in the future is that we actually will have, like in toll roads, sensors that work out the car that is driven, and there might be a tax that's actually moved towards a distance tax. So the more kilometers we drive, the more we have to, I suppose, contribute towards the road maintenance upkeep. And in some way, that's maybe a fair system. Now, when we look at the running costs, the other element to look at is also the costs of maintenance. Now, an electric car doesn't have filters, doesn't have oil. The maintenance costs are much lower. You don't have a starter motor, you don't have the oil filter, you don't have certain elements to do with the electrics that you all need for the petrol car that the EV doesn't require. And the EV engines, I'm told, are designed to last many hundreds of thousands of kilometers. On average, let's say if you spend $1,800 to $2,000 a year on maintaining your car, you probably can half that cost for an EV. So you got a further $1,000 saving in your maintenance cost on the vehicles. Maybe by the time I look at the petrol, and I think rego costs sometimes are cheaper for EVs as well. So you possibly could argue that you can save overall around $4,000 of an electric vehicle versus a petrol vehicle right now. Sounds all good. There's a but. An electric vehicle of a similar size will currently still cost you around $20,000 more to purchase in the first place than an equivalent size petrol car. That means with my $4,000 saving, it will actually take me 5 years or thereabouts before I'm actually financially in the plus, because I've had a higher investment up front. But that means still after 10 years, I will still have $20,000 more in my pocket. What happens after 10 years? Your petrol car, yes, the engine will be possibly have 120, 130,000 kilometers, and you might have to have more upkeep in the future. But the petrol engine is likely to go at least for 250,000. So you've got another 100,000 plus on the books. The question is, how will batteries in the electric car, how good will the condition be after 10 years? Will be so depleted that you only can drive 150 Ks or 200 Ks before you have to charge them, and people get really sick of having to kind of permanently plug that car in and can't really drive long distances, which means you have to replace the battery set. If you have to replace the battery set, my guess is that on a $60,000 vehicle, you'll be looking at least at $7,000 or $8,000. So some of your savings that you kind of gained in the previous 5 years, remember 20,000, will have to be reinvested in the electric car for a new battery set. But having then put the battery set in and have a brand new battery really means that the car should be theoretically able to go another 10 years quite easily, which means the resale value goes up versus the petrol car. So in that case, you possibly will still be ahead again with the EV vehicle. So in short, save you money over time, but initially you have to invest a bit more. But how much it will be depends really on the government's decision in regards to the petrol tax and the distance tax. And in that regards, down the track, maybe they could become quite equal. We'll see.
Want more energy answered? Visit YourEnergyAnswers.com for quality energy products, tools and calculators, and find your quality local installers. Please support the channel by liking the video, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell, and check out all our other videos. You're still here? I'll see you next time. Bye.